Hey guys, I'm Miss Hicks from 9th grade Davis. I'm going to be teaching you your 5th grade reading lesson today. Today we're going to be working with, at first, our knowledge of roots and affixes so that we can read correctly our unfamiliar multisyllabic words. Today our words probably are not going to be that unfamiliar with you, but by Thursday I'll throw in some different words that'll kind of be a little unfamiliar. So our essential question, how can I figure out a new word by breaking it down into parts? You know, we need to know that when we see something out in real life, a word that we don't understand, we need to know how to tackle that word so that we can speak about it, be knowledgeable about it. I'm going to give you a few little hints and some things. We're going to work with our prefixes and our suffixes today. Later on, we're going to work with some Greek and Latin roots that will really help you. Okay? So let's start. I want to watch a video off of Brain Pop that's going to talk about what prefixes are and what suffixes are. And then we're going to talk about it, okay?
What you doing? You want to study geology? I thought you were studying biology. And 2 weeks ago, it was Greek mythology. Pick an ology. Dear Tim and Moby, I just don't understand prefixes and suffixes at all. Please help. From Pat. Words can be broken down into different parts: roots, prefixes, and suffixes. A root is the essential part of the word, and it can't be broken down into any smaller parts. A prefix is a part of the word that goes before the root, and suffixes come after the root. How do you know what all the parts mean? Well, mostly it comes with practice. Prefixes and suffixes have definitions, just like root words. Let's look at the word dehydration. The prefix is D, the root is hydro, and the suffix is shun. D is a common prefix that means lack of. Hydra, the root word, comes from the Greek word for water. And shun here means something like a state of being. So if you put it all together, you can figure out the meaning of the word dehydration, a state in which something or someone lacks water. Let's look at another example. Unpleasantness. The prefix is un, which means not. Un is a really common prefix that we see in a lot of words. Uncommon, unlikely, undecided, unclear. Pleasant is the root word. Ness is the suffix, which means state of. So unpleasantness means the state of not being pleasant. Adding a prefix or suffix to a root word changes its meaning, and often it's part of speech. Well, adding the prefix un changes the meaning of pleasant to mean its opposite. Adding the suffix ness changes the word pleasant from an adjective into a noun. Well, no, not all words are made up of all three parts. Here's another word. It has only two parts. Biology. The root is bio, which comes from the Greek word for life. Ology, or logi, is a suffix that means the study of. So biology means the study of life. A lot of prefixes and suffixes come from Greek and Latin words. If you learn what some of them mean, you can figure out definitions of words you thought you didn't know. Common prefixes like anti, co, pre, and auto are easy to spot. And some common suffixes are ist, ism, able, and full. Thinking of a bunch of words that contain the same prefix or suffix can help you figure out its meaning. Well, let's think of some words that end in Gardener, runner, recorder. A gardener is someone who gardens. A runner is someone who runs. A recorder is a machine that records things. So I guess when a verb has at the end, it's describing someone or something that performs the verb's action. But a prefix or suffix might not always mean the same thing. For example, when you add to the end of an adjective, it means more, like in bigger, faster, or brighter. Hey, why are you looking at my head? What, do you want to study phrenology now? Timology. I don't think that's a real word.
Okay, guys, so let's talk about the prefix and suffix. Prefix, what did he say? There were letters that are affixes that are added to the beginning of the word that sometimes change the meaning. Maybe it makes it the opposite. Maybe it makes it an opinion. Maybe it makes it repeat. Do it again. Suffixes, those word affixes are a group of letters added to the end of the word that sometimes change its meaning, but sometimes it changes its part of speech. Like when he said pleasantness, he said adding ness changed it from an adjective to a noun. So what do the two have in common? What did you notice in the video? Yes, that sometimes they can change the meaning of the base word. Okay, let's look at this. I have some prefixes here, like by, una, try. What do we know? What do we know? Maybe what these numbers are. Let me write this. So I have bicycle, unicycle, and I have tricycle. What do you think? What do you know? Bicycle's the first one I wrote because that's the most common. What do we know about our bicycles? Yes, they have two wheels. So bi means two. Okay, well, what about tricycle? What do you know about tricycle? Have you heard any other words that maybe have tri in it? Like maybe a triangle. So tri means three. All right, well, what about a unicycle? Have you ever heard of a unicycle? Have you ever seen a unicycle? I think about the circus and the monkey riding on the unicycle. Yes, una means one. Okay, so that's what those numbers stand for. Here's another one. Centa. Centimeter. Where have we heard that word? I'm thinking maybe in math when we measure. We look at our rulers and we measure in inches, or we might measure in the metric unit. We measure in centimeters. You have centimeters, millimeters. Okay? So centimeter. Centi means 100. So this would be 100 little ticks on your ruler. Okay? Okay, let's look at some words. We have una plus form makes uniform. What did we say una meant? Una was stood for one. Right, so when we wear a uniform like we do when we were getting to go to school, we all looked alike. We were one. Okay? Our centipede. Center we just talked about and it meant 100. Pede. Well, ped is a Greek or Latin word for foot, so centipede would be 100-foot little caterpillar thing. Well, it wouldn't be little if it's got 100 feet, right? Bi-weekly. What did we say bi meant? Bi meant two. So bi-weekly. Well, at first you might think, okay, well, we do it twice a week. No, it's 2 weeks. So we do it every 2 weeks. What about bifocal? Have you ever heard of bifocal? Miss Hicks wears glasses. Luckily, they're not bifocals. But bi, again, means two. Focal is like focus. So it's two lenses. So we use two lenses. Some people use them to read, to look out, and then to read. Okay, here's a big word. Remember I told you we'd look at these things and see what we know and break them down? What do you see in this word? Okay, I see bi, which what did we say that meant? Yeah, means two. And then I see that cent. Remember on centa it meant 100? So here it's 100. All right, we haven't talked about ennial yet. We might, which that would be years. So bicentennial would be 200 years. I know none of you were alive back this, but in 1976 we celebrated our bicentennial. So let's go back to that essential question. How can I figure out a new word by breaking it down into parts? When we look at that bicentennial, you might not have known it, but we knew what bi meant. What did bi mean? It meant 2. We knew what cent meant. It meant 100. So we had an idea that it probably had something to do with 200. I helped you with the ennial, which means years. So bicentennial. Okay. Let's go to reading. All right, instead of word knowledge. Our objective here is we want to be able to quote accurately from a text when explaining what the text says explicitly and when drawing inferences from the text. So I really want to focus more on the drawing inferences. How do readers construct meaning from what they read? How do we gather this information? How do we know? All right. I have another little video for our what is inferencing. It's a little more upbeat. My classroom usually really likes these.
Yeah. Vocabulary. When you go by your friend's house to see if she's home, and the house is all dark and you don't have your phone, she doesn't answer the knock. What could this be? She could be hiding in the dark. She could have moved to Greece, but those don't seem likely. So you take your best guess. She's probably just not home. No need to stress. When you take your best guess, you infer. Whether you observe the clues or you read them in the words, you reach conclusions from details or evidence. Clues that you see in the real world or sentences like Jasmine was cranky. She had bags beneath her eyes. Her head was droopy. She was yawning all the time. You infer she's tired, didn't get a good night's sleep. Jasmine's not a shepherd, but you think she needs to count sheep. She didn't tell you she was sleepy. She didn't have to say, cause the clues were like a sign that she was wearing on her face.
I read between the lines what you don't say when you tell me that you're coming my way. I read between the lines to infer the truth. I'ma take my best guess with you. I read between the lines what you don't say when you tell me that you're coming my way. I read between the lines to infer the truth. I'ma take my best guess with you.
It's your birthday and you are amped, but when you ask Jasmine to hang, she says she has plans. You glance in her backpack and hello, you see a flashlight and 2 bags of marshmallows. A little later you overhear your friend Samantha ask Jasmine what time, but you don't catch the answer. And then she says, I won't tell. Jasmine, have trust. And then she sees you looking over and she starts to blush. So think it through. Everything you observed, read between the lines. What can you infer? Maybe Jasmine's throwing a surprise party for you. The conversation that you overheard was a clue. And where could it be? You infer us at a campsite where you roast marshmallows and might need a flashlight that night. Your dad leads you where you never been, and suddenly,
Surprise!
and yeah, it's all your friends.
I read between the lines what you don't say when you tell me that you're coming my way. I read between the lines to infer the truth. I'ma take my best guess with you. I read between the lines what you don't say when you tell me that you're coming my way. I read between the lines to infer the truth. I'ma take my best guess with you.
Okay, guys. So what is an inference? What did the video say? It's reading between the lines. Let's look at my chart. Okay? What is an inference? Making an inference is when you use facts, true statements. With observations, what do you see? And you make a conclusion. You take your background knowledge, you make a conclusion. What it's not, an inference is not saying what is obvious or easily seen. Okay? An example. The girl here, she's got a bow, she's got flowers, she's all dressed up. All right? So this is not an inference. The girl is wearing a fancy dress and carrying flowers. That is what she's doing. So that's not inferring. Okay? Why would I dress up? Why would a girl dress up? Why would she carry flowers? This is an inference. Since the girl is wearing a fancy dress and holding flowers, maybe she's a flower girl in a wedding. Does this make sense? Yeah, okay. Or we could maybe infer that maybe she was going to a dance. Those things would be all logical inferences. Let's look at this picture. What do you see? What can you observe? What do you know? What is a true fact? So what could you say that is not an inference? There's several things. It's a girl. She has a helmet. Okay? So there's a bike in the background. Okay, well what do we see that we can infer? What do we know? When we ride our bikes and maybe we fall down, our bike's usually turned over, we didn't put the kickstand down. Looks to me like she's not happy. She's upset. She's holding her knee. So I could infer that this girl maybe had a bike wreck, skinned her knee, she's upset. Okay? Is that logical? Could I say that this girl is mad? Maybe, but it's really hard. Why would she be mad? She's outside, she's riding her bike. So our logical inference, our best guess, our educated guess, would be that she fell and hurt herself. Okay? I want to look at this passage and then we're going to ask some questions. I want you to think about what we're reading, because when we read, we have to think about it. We have to ask ourselves questions. If we're just reading, just calling the words, that's not reading, that's word calling. To gain meaning, we have to think about what we read. Okay? So I'm going to model. Jake felt the car come to a stop, and he opened his eyes. He looked out his window, but the darkness still surrounded him. "Are we at the airport yet?" he mumbled to his dad. "Not quite, bud. We still have to take the shuttle to the actual airport. This is just where we're leaving the car for the week," Dad responded. Jake rubbed the sleep from his eyes and grabbed his backpack. As they waited for the shuttle, he looked at his watch and yawned. He had only seen those numbers in the afternoon. All right, my first question is, what time of day is it? So I go back in the passage and I think, it's dark, okay, and it's surrounding him. He wants to know if they're at the airport. He's looking at his watch, but it's dark. So when is it dark? Nighttime? Early morning? Okay? He yawned, so I know he's tired. Generally, when do we sleep? Yep, we sleep at night, okay? If you're lucky, you sleep all night long. You don't get up until about 7, 8 o'clock in the morning. But then it says he'd only seen those numbers in the afternoon. So what time is the afternoon? Well, you have 1, 2, 3, 4. That's afternoon. Wants to know what time it is. Is it dark at 1 o'clock in the afternoon? Or 2 o'clock, or 3 o'clock, or 4 o'clock? No. So it must be probably about 2 or 3 a.m. in the morning. Okay? So it's 2 or 3 in the morning. And I know this. Why? Because he looked at his watch. He'd only seen those numbers in the afternoon, and it's still dark. And he's sleeping. Okay? The next question. Is the family going on a vacation or returning? Explain how you know. Sorry. Okay? So, Have you ever taken a trip? Have you ever been to an airport? I have. You park your car, you set it, then you take a shuttle. Okay, well, in the passage it says that this is where we're leaving the car for the week. If I'm coming home from the airport, am I going to leave? If I'm coming home from vacation, am I going to leave my car somewhere for a week? No, I'm not. So the family is returning from vacation, and I know that because my background knowledge tells me that. So I need to put that in Word. In words. So the family is returning from vacation. I have to restate my question. I have to put in there what my question is. Okay? I know this because the text told me they were leaving the car for a week. Okay? That lets me know that I should, that they're going on vacation. Okay? Let's talk about, let's go back and talk about our essential question. How do readers construct meaning from what they read? They pay attention. They ask questions. If I had a problem, I might go back and read. And when I answered my questions, I went back into my passage. And that's important. Always ask yourself questions as you're reading. Okay? Thank you. And I'm so excited and I cannot wait to see y'all next Thursday. We're going to do some more word work. Might work a little more with inferencing. We're going to work a little more with how we take that stuff out of the passage to answer our questions. On Thursday, we're going to read Danger that is in your packet. If you have a packet, please read it. Be ready to work with it. And I'm excited to see you next Thursday. Thank you.